everyone, Tony Winston here, Jazz Piano College. Can you learn how to improvise? You're a piano player, you have some piano skills, you can play a Clementi sonatina, you can play an easy Beethoven sonata, but you are not sure about the improvisation thing. And I've heard a lot of videos talking about, well, if you're going to play a song, play the chord arpeggios, like, outline the chords. But I disagree with this. Not entirely. I think it's a good idea to practice that way. But I had a student the other day say, when you're improvising, do you know what the notes are going to sound like in advance? And I said, yes, pretty much I do. But sometimes when your fingers get moving pretty fast, you can surprise yourself, and the melodies won't be exactly what you anticipated, but they will still be good because you are within the right scale or the right framework of the chord or the chord progression that you're playing. So I want to encourage you to practice scales as an approach to improvisation. And when I first started to improvise, I think it was about in the 8th grade, and I would just like, I was like on major and minor triads, and to me that just sounded great. And I don't know exactly when my improv started to happen, in terms of melodic improvisation, but I think it was something basically like this. And here I'm purposely playing an F against the C just because it's wrong. It doesn't quite sound right, but as you start to improvise, you'll kind of start to learn how to avoid the notes that don't sound quite right and go for the notes that do sound right. And the thing is about when you're practicing a scale, it's very predictable what the next note will sound like. Da, 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 la. You know where it's going. And so this trains your mind and your fingers to kind of be in harmony with each other, let's say in unison with each other. They get connected. So what I'm going to show in this video is how to practice the altered scale. And this is not something you want to start with. You want to start with all the major scales, okay? Because the major scales work over minor chords as well. C major scale over D minor, So major scales, most important thing. Okay, so let's get into the altered scale. And I'm going to start with B7th here because the altered scale on a dominant chord, you simply go up a half a step and play the minor melodic ascending, which is just like the major scale, except it has a third that is flatted. We have a flat 3. And I think on most of these scales, the fingering will be the same as the major scale. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And in general, most scales have that kind of fingering. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes they start with 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes you start with a different finger and then but that pattern remains the same. 3 and then 4. All right, so on B7th, and if you're a little more advanced, you could play a bass note first. And, if you're thinking, well, this is just a weird scale that I'll never use. No, you will use this scale. See, there it was. And then I went to E minor. So it's a very, very useful scale. Now, another thing you could do, if you're even more advanced and say a rootless voicing for, say, a sharp 9 chord, which is an altered dominant, then you can play the scale over that. Okay, I did 2 octaves. You can simply play the dominant chord like this and here, I'm starting on my second finger so I can get my fingering pattern straight on the scale. So starting with 2, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to go through all 12 of these. So we can do them fast, but we're going to slow it down. All right, let's just keep going around the cycle from there and see what happens. The next one's going to be like the F minor melodic. Right? See, it fits F minor chord just fine, but fits E7, especially if you're doing a 2-5-1 in a minor key. All right, and that was part of the altered scale, which is F minor melodic. So let's take a look at it. Again, I'll start with my 2, and then my thumb goes here. And this fingering pattern, you'll know from F major, is a little different because it's 1, 2, 3, 4 first, and then 1, 2, 3. Okay? And I think we just have the 2 black keys there, don't we? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. Sometimes I confuse myself. Also remember from playing major scales that in the right hand, the 4 always goes on the B flat there. So when you're coming down, put your 4 on B flat. And then, you've used your 4 already, so use your 3 next. Then your 4 goes again. All right, I'll go through the rest of them a lot quicker. And I don't think we'll run into any problems, but we might. So let's see. All right, on to what's next? A. All right. Oh, this was the tricky one, I think. Yeah, this one, and I kind of screwed it up there, but I'm going to start with 3 and 4 here just to keep the fingering pattern intact. All right, and then I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 here. Once again, that 4th finger is on B flat. So, all right, and if we go up an octave, I can probably put in this altered chord like this. So, on to D, and here we're using E flat minor melodic ascending. So. There's my 1, 2, 3, and there's my 1, 2, 3, 4 right there with the 4 on B flat, of course. So now you can start with any finger, except 5 or 4, just as long as you get your thumb down there. You can meander around a little bit with them too if you like. All right, A flat minor melodic ascending will work just fine on our G chord. So we're going to start with 2 here. So we can go 2, 3, 4. All right. C. Now, am I in there? Yeah, C. All right. And C sharp is the minor melodic scale we're going to do. So this one's pretty simple. We're going to start with our thumb and do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. On to F again. So it's like the F sharp minor melodic ascending. Okay, so there's our 4 is, and here's where our 3 is. So. What went wrong? All right, B flat. Our 1, 2, 3 is here. Our 1, 2, 3, 4 is there. So we'll start on 2. E B flat, we'll again start on 2 and same fingering pattern. A flat. And it's an easy one to kind of visualize. You've got A minor scale or A major scale. We'll just take that sharp out and we have that scale. So and just once again a little 2-5-1. From A flat, we move to D flat, and here again is an easy scale to remember, D minor with that raised 7th. All right, just like D major, but we flatted the 3rd. And we're doing it over this chord. All right, another way possibly to practice this is to do little 2-5-1s. Doolittle, Dr. Doolittle 2-5-1s. Okay, that was D flat. I think we're just about back to the beginning here. So F sharp. Okay, with a G minor scale. All right. And once again, the fingering is, starts off just like the G major scale here. 1, 2, 3. So we start with something else here. All right, and now curve your fingers. Reach out a little bit and kind of move them this way if you're a Suzuki trained piano player. Or just curve them nicely. Keep your thumb relaxed and moving under. All right. There's your 2. Put your thumb under a little bit. Just relax it. Check it with the other hand. Make sure it's not tense. Play. And as you play, move it this way. All right. I can't help it. I'm a piano teacher. Focus on the ones that you have trouble with. Get real good at the ones you don't have trouble with. And try to use them in your improvisation in a spot where they sound good. I will be back to cover the Lydian dominant scale, which is very, very similar, and also the diminished scale, which is an 8-note scale, so it has some unique properties. And by the way, we can turn all these other scales into 8-note scales by adding a passing tone someplace. And I've heard people also say that, 8-note scales are great because you stay on the chord tones. But I don't think that's that important. I really don't. I think more importantly is just to have a good melodic idea, something that comes from the heart or comes from the head. And Barry Harris talks about this too. I don't think you really have to aim for those chord tones by, putting in passing tones like. Right? That way we kept the strong beat on the chord tone. 1, 2, 3, 4. Useful. But here's the thing. If you follow too many of these, conventions, you're just going to end up sounding like everybody else. And that's not a bad thing. When you're starting off, you want to sound, you want to sound like Art Tatum. You want to sound like Keith Jarrett. You want to sound like Bill Evans. You want to sound like Monty Alexander. But you can't. You're going to sound like you. And I think you have to, in some ways, chart your own course. So you got people telling you to do arpeggios. You got me telling you to do scales. But I think the thing you want to do is focus on something when you're practicing, even if it's just for like 10 or 15 minutes, and then you spend the rest of the time just, having fun. If you focus on one specific idea, it'll take hold, take root, and grow into something pretty nice. All right, thanks everyone for watching. See you again soon.